Give a big round of applause for Uncle Robbie, ladies and gentlemen. You can do that, man. Let's go, Uncle Robbie. Let's go.
Levi had all his stuff out on the chair. Vern will be happy we have a mic stand tonight. You know, when you get to my age, literally every day is leg day. Yeah. I went to the doctor. I was feeling shitty and everything was hurting me, my hands, my knees, my shoulders. I go to the doctor. He takes x-rays. He puts the x-rays up on the board. And there's all this white, cloudy stuff. And I looked up and I said, holy shit, do I have bone cancer? He goes, well, it's not quite that bad. He says, it's arthritis. He says, I could understand why you're in pain. He says, you know, you got to remember, arthritis makes everything stiff. Not everything. You know, when I was a kid, we used to like to get pretty buzzed. You know, we'd smoke a few joints, we'd get a couple of six packs, put Led Zeppelin on. I've been trying to recapture that feeling for years. Finally, it occurred to me, all I really need to do is stand up real fast and I let my blood pressure take over. You know, there's 4 rules to aging. You never pass a bathroom. You never waste an erection. You never trust a fart. And you never, ever, ever get down on the floor without a plan to get back up. You know, you can see I got a few tattoos. So I asked Pixie, Pixie's my wife, take me, I want to get a new tattoo. So she drops me off, come home, and she's looking, she goes, what did you do? I said, what? She goes, why do you have 3 lines tattooed above your knee? I said, well, you remember when the kids were little, we would chart their growth by drawing lines on the door jambs. She goes, yeah, I get that, but I just don't get this. I said, well, to be perfectly frank, I'm trying to measure the impact of gravity on my balls. She says, well, then why the dotted line? I said, because at that point, I have to stop wearing shorts. You know, now at this age, I walk into the bathroom and I stand there, and it actually takes me longer to start peeing than it does to actually pee. And when I do, it's sort of like this series of urinary dots and dashes. It's like Morse code. Starting to get responses from ships at sea. But you know when you really know you're getting old? When your balls are longer than a CVS receipt. You know, aging hasn't been kind to my wife either. I mean, she went through menopause. It was a killer for her. We would have what I would like to call the thermostat wars, right? She'd set it down to 60. I'd set it up to 70. It was so cold in the bedroom, we would literally have intermittent flurries in there. You know, and one night I'm in bed and I hear bzzz, a little faster, a little louder. Bzzz. Here I am, laying there, getting all excited, because I'm thinking she's warming up in the bullpen, you know? Bzzz. But no, I roll over and there she is with the little fan from her nightstand, just trying to cool herself down. Menopause is a bitch. You know, menopause is also Mother Nature's way of reminding an Italian woman she's going to be dealing with facial hair for the rest of her life. My Nona at age 70 had such a luxurious beard, she was able to front for a ZZ Top cover band. You know, we've been married 41 years, and I'm really, really, really fortunate that when we took our vows, we did those very traditional ones, because I really screwed her with that whole in sickness and in health thing. Yeah, she's like a fresh cannoli, my Pixie. She smells great. She tastes delicious. But like too many cannolis, she's fucking killing me slowly. You know, we were talking, and I always tell her, you know, I hope I go before you, because, you know, if I'm left on my own, it won't last long. So we're sitting in and we're with some cousins, and my cousin says, well, he says, that's nice. Like, you know, you want her to go first. He says, because if you went first, you would miss her terribly. And Pixie jumps in and says, miss me? He wouldn't be able to get out of his fucking recliner to feed himself. That's why he would miss me. You know, have you ever tried to win an argument with your spouse? That's adorable. You just can't. You're likely to run out of oxygen before you even get to make a point. And of course, at the end of those arguments, I always apologize because, well, I like living indoors. You know, there's 4 stages to a marriage, right? There's the newlywed stage. You're going at it like bunnies. You wear out a mattress the first year you're married. You got a lot of playful banter, sexual innuendo. It's the best time. Then there's that amused stage, right? No, there's the happy stage. And by happy, I mean the sex is still good, the sex is still frequent, but what do you get? You get the kids banging at the door. Hey, we hear mommy screaming, let us in. We hear her yelling Yahtzee. We want to play too. Now, the third stage is amused. You're feeling very amorous. You run to the bedroom. You rip your clothes off and you look at each other and crack up because gravity's a bitch. And then finally, there's that tolerance stage where that playful banter of your youth has turned into a bit of bickering. You still have sex. I like to call it hallway sex. You just walk by each other and go, fuck you. You know, Pixie accuses me of not remembering a lot of things. And you know, she's right. My head is filled with so much shit. I got to parse out what's important and what's not. And a lot of the shit she tells me, frankly, is unimportant. So I choose to not remember it. I like to call it Italian Alzheimer's. That's where you forget everything except the grudges. Now, she's worried that I might really be getting Alzheimer's and I might start wandering, but really all she's got to do is take my cane away and I won't be able to walk very far. Okay, that's my time. Thank you, Eds, and thanks, Levi, for putting this all together.